We truly believe that our children should outlive us. And so today, that is what our topic is about. It's about dealing with a death of a child. So welcome, Linda.
Thank you. We lost Michelle 28 years ago, and it's just like yesterday.
So walk us through this, Linda. Tell us how old she was, what happened, and the processes that you kind of went through. So I'm not even sure yet the questions to ask you. So please just walk us through this. How old was Michelle? And what did she die from?
Michelle was almost 20. She was in university. She was brilliant. She was brilliant. She was one of those bubbly, happy young ladies. And she was in on full scholarship. She was going into law. The reason she was going into law was because she truly cared for people. And she just wanted to always make the world a better place. And I never knew when I was coming home from work who I was going to find in our family room, because she was always bringing in people.
The strays.
Oh, I tell you. And so we lost her. Her and Carrie, my other daughter, who was 2 years younger, they sang gospel music. My sisters and I used to sing, and they sort of picked up where we left off. And they were on their way to a youth event to sing for the Lord. And that was... And there was an accident, and Carrie was left, and Michelle was taken. And that was when my life changed, and it has changed forevermore. And that was the beginning of a new journey. And I think that's what people have to understand, is when you lose someone, especially a child, that your life changes, and it is different. I'm not saying that as a bad thing. That's just the reality of the situation. As a mom,
right.
I had a career. Okay, so I had a career, and I'm a mom. And people would say to me in my career, and I had a successful career, they would say, "What was your greatest success?" And of course, they always wanted me to say one of my successes in my career, right? Mm-hmm. And my first answer, and always my answer, was my greatest success were my daughters. Mm-hmm. They are and always will be my greatest success. And now my grandchildren, but that comes later. And so I loved them with everything there was in me to love. There wasn't anything else I could possibly love them more than I love them. So as a mother or a father or a grandmother or a grandfather, when you love with an unconditional love, and one of those pieces are removed from your life, you are forever changed. And as you're forever changed, the people who are not impacted with that change the way you are wants everything to be back the way it was before. So they would say things like, well, it's going to get back to normal, or time is going to heal, or we would really like the old Linda back. So they would say things that would hurt so deep. And because you didn't have the strength to process it, you weren't really understanding what all they were saying, because you knew that you couldn't possibly go back to what it was before, because what it was before wasn't there anymore. Right. So the counselor, I went and talked to a counselor who had lost a child. And I said, I need help. I just don't know what I need. I'm a strong person. I have a huge faith. I love the Lord. But I'm struggling. I'm I'm beyond sad. Everything looks different to me. The trees, everything is different. And he said to me, he said, when you love deep, and he said, Linda, you love deep, your pain will be forevermore. Understand that to be true. I could have hugged him because that's what I needed to hear. I needed somebody to tell me that it was okay. That was okay. That I am normal. That this is the new Linda from here on. And I just need to learn how to live in this new normal. Mm-hmm. And that's not easy. For those that might have lost a child and they're still struggling, the struggle's okay. Struggle. If you're getting up and you're getting dressed in the morning, good for you. Pat yourself on the back. If nobody else is going to pat you on the back, you pat yourself on the back. If you're brushing your teeth and brushing your hair, good for you. You see, it's to do the little things that you used to do is a chore. Now, you can't stay at a place of depression because you'll just go further down. You're going to go through it. I don't remember a lot because I lost a lot of memory at that time. But I remember being in her room and I remember thinking, okay, if I could just get under the rug, if I could just hide myself under the rug. And I remember clawing at the rug, trying to take the fibers off because I needed to hide myself. The pain is so great, you just want to
disappear.
Yeah, I just wanted to disappear somewhere. I just needed to go away. And people have to understand that that's normal. You're not going crazy. Mm. That is so normal. Now, you need someone with you. Mm. I used to believe that people who committed suicide were weak. Mm. I now know that people who commit suicide are in pain.
Yes.
So if you're at a point where you just cannot, you just want to disappear, find somebody, find anybody, just say, I want to disappear, just be with me, just hang on to me, because I really don't want to disappear. I just want the pain to go away. See, they don't really want to leave. And that's what I wanted. I just wanted the pain to go away. So I had beautiful sisters who stayed with me, who lived the pain with me. And when I was able to handle the pain was still there, but I was able to handle the pain, then I knew that I was okay to be on my own. But that's a very real stage of grief. Mm. And what people sometimes will say is, oh, well, it'll be fine. They'll be fine. No. If you really feel that you need somebody to stay with you, that's okay. That's not weak. That's strength. Right. Because I really wanted to live for Carrie, my other daughter. I just couldn't verbalize it because the pain for Michelle was so great. It overtook everything in my life. That doesn't mean my love for Carrie was any less or any more than my love for Michelle. It just means the grief at the time is so overpowering. So I think the first gift I would give people that are grieving is know that if you need help, you're stronger than you think you are.
Isn't it true? I mean, wouldn't it be true that for you to actually to say, I need to be here for Carrie, shows as much love as the grief you're going through for Michelle? Yeah. Because it was obviously as hard for you to stay here and hang on for Carrie as it was for the grief. You were struggling with this for Michelle.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what is it that a parent who's going through this needs to do? Like, what kind of help is out there? What do they need to do to get through those stages? What are those
Whatever
stages?
their stages are, they have to go through them. You have to be sad. You have to go through that pain. You have to go through the anger. You have to. You can't let it consume you. But be with people that will allow you to vent. Not with people that say, well, time will heal. Or, oh, well, we'll get over it. I'm angry. I'm angry that this happened. I'm angry that God took her. I'm angry. And they will say, I'm angry too. That's what I wanted to hear. Mm-hmm. I wanted other people to be just as angry as me, to be just as sad as me, to be just as hurt as me. And as I was allowed to vent all of these feelings, you get to a place that you realize that this is your life. This is the card you've been dealt. Mm. So I've worked with people that refuse to be angry. Nope, this is the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, I was sad, but nope, that's it now. And 10, 15 years down the line, they are in the same place. They're bitter. Mm. But not bitter about their loss. They're bitter about all the other stuff. You just have to go through all of the stages, and you don't want to. Mm. In fact, if somebody was to come up to me at the time and say, okay, I'm going to try and help you through this pain. I'm going to try to take all the pain away. So, they would have done me a disservice. I had to feel the pain. I remember saying to a very dear lady who had lost a son about a year earlier, and as I was walking, and I only remember bits and pieces of the funeral, but as I was walking out of the funeral, I saw her. And I remember looking at her. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I said, Mark, when is this unbearable pain going to end? And she looked at me and she just shook her head. And the tears started to flow. And I remember being so angry because she wouldn't take my pain away. Mm. But looking back, it was the best thing she could have done for me. Because what she was saying is, oh, Linda, I can't. And I won't. Because I can't. And at the time, you don't understand it. But it's all those little things, all those little moments that you think about as you become stronger, that you go, oh, I get it now. Right. And so bear the grief. Go through the anger. Assign the blame to everybody that you want to assign the blame to. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, make sure you have a strong mentor, a person that thinks like you, a person that you can depend on, a person that loves you unconditionally. And that isn't necessarily always your spouse or a family member. It's somebody that you trust. Mm-hmm. That you can always, that's that go-to person. I think that becomes incredibly important in your journey. And there's no time limit on your journey because your journey is going to last forever. It's been 28 years for me. And I very rarely talk about Michelle, only to people like yourself who have a caring heart mm-hmm. and who understand. I cannot go up in front of a crowd of people and tell my journey yet. And it's been 28 years.
You may never be able to.
I may never be able to. That's God. Well, that is not for me to say. Right. I just do where I think I go where I need to go, and I do what I think God needs me to do. Yeah. So you literally live that whole adage that it's out there one day at a time. One day. It's always one day at a time. Yeah. And that helps you process and be able to get up in the morning and put your head down on the pillow again. See, what you find is you find a new reason for... See, my reason for living, my biggest success was my girls, right? My reason for living was my girls. And one of the reasons was taken from me, right? Yeah. So you have to find a new reason to live. Now, Carrie was still there. She's the reason I came back.
Right.
I remember, and again, you only, and this is the other thing as you're going through this journey, you're not going to remember everything. I didn't. Maybe some people will, but you don't remember everything clearly. I remember it was, I was feeling like I was on the bottom of a well and it was dark. And I was down there. I was down there. And I thought, I'm never going to climb out. I'm down here. I got to learn to live down here. I don't know how I'm going to learn to live down here, but I got to learn to live down here. And I remember knowing I had to live because I'd already made that clear to myself that I was past that stage of grief. So I just have to learn to live down here. And the counselor said it was okay. You know, I was always going to be sad, but I would have, there would be moments of happiness, but it was okay. I would be okay. So I was really okay living down here. Well, I thought, well, this is all right then. I was at some level of whatever I was at. I don't know now yet. Yeah,
of where you were.
Yeah, that's a good word. Acceptance. It's a very good word. Very good word. And then I had overheard a conversation that my daughter Carrie had with my husband. I haven't thought about this for a long time. She said, Daddy, I want Mommy back. Well, I thought to myself, those are my successes. She wants her mommy back. Mommy's got to come back. Obviously, I can't stay down here. And I remember the next 3 to 4 months, I remember it physically. I know it sounds strange, but it won't sound strange to people that are grieving. No. I remember it was like, you know, you see rock climbing and you see but they can only climb with their hands. I remember climbing and I physically could feel the pain in my fingers. And I would look down sometimes and I would think that they were bleeding, but they weren't. I know it sounds really weird, but when it became so hard to climb out of that whatever I was in, I remember thinking, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. And I remember reaching the top and seeing light. I don't even know what the light was. I have no clue. I just know I saw light. And I thought, oh, I'm in a better place. And I remember that's the time I came back for Carrie. And I remember as clear as can be thinking, Carrie's got Mommy back. Oh. And that was another stage. Yeah. The sorrow was still there. Yeah. I was still angry. I was still going through a lot of stuff underneath. But Mommy was back. And that was another stage of grief. And I could tell that Carrie and my relationship again started to, she could tell that I was back.
Your purpose.
Yeah, my purpose.
Your purpose came back into focus because there was still one.
Yeah, because and I realized that even though Michelle wasn't with me anymore, my purpose was no less for her. I didn't understand that at the time. I truly didn't. But I knew I was back for Carrie. Once I came back for Carrie, and I was understanding that my successes were still my 2 girls, even though I physically didn't have Michelle, I got a phone call. And in the first year, I'm telling you, the first year was a blur. And I have to say my company was great. They gave me such leeway. So the first year, I think it was about 5 months after, I remember picking up the phone, and it was a girl. And I have told this story recently, but this is when I realized Michelle's purpose was still ongoing. Mm. And what I had fed into my daughters was still out there, even though Michelle was no longer physically with us. So she was from Nigeria. She went to a university with Michelle. I had no idea who she was. I, to this day, have no idea how she got my home phone number. I do not know. Mm. And she said, she told me who she was. She says, my name is, and I cannot remember her name. She had a very heavy accent. And she said, I went to university with Michelle, and I need for you to tell me why God took her. I'm still working on that. But I wasn't going to tell her that because I would never betray Michelle's God. Michelle had a very strong faith, as do I, and as does Carrie and my husband. So I would never do that. I wanted to say that, but I didn't. And I said, I don't know. Mm. Well, she said, I'm angry. I am too. I said, so who are you? Like, why are you calling me? What can I do for you? And then she told me a story. The most beautiful story. A gift from my daughter to me, and the gift that my daughter gave the world countless times. Her purpose. She said, you know, I'm here all by myself. I'm from another country. And I don't speak the language very well. And I'm alone. And I would sit in the foyer of the university in this big lobby area, alone. And she says, one day, this beautiful white girl with this shiny hair and this massive smile came walking towards me with 2 cups of coffee. And she said, this beautiful white girl, and this is exact, it's like her words are etched into my brain, set the cup of coffee in front of me. And she said, why are you always sitting here all by yourself every Monday morning? And I thought to myself, why would somebody like her notice somebody like me? And I asked her that. And you know what she said to me? I said, no. She said, why not? And she said, every Monday morning at that same time, Michelle and I would sit together, and I never felt alone again. And now she's gone. Why did he take her? I don't remember what I told her. I remember, so I think God had to give me the words because I didn't have the words then.
Didn't have the answer.
I didn't have the words. I didn't have the answer. I was still at such a level of grief that but I know that I gave her an answer, and I know I prayed with her, and I know she said thank you, and I never heard from her again. So I know that as my journey continued, I realized that my life's purpose was always and will always be Michelle and Carrie. Even though Michelle isn't with me anymore. Right. They were always my greatest successes. And that was another stage of grief where I realized that just because she's not physically here, she's still here for many.
And you're still a mother.
And I'm still her mom.
And so that people who related to Michelle in any way, shape, or form still relate to you as Michelle's mom.
Yes, absolutely.
So
Now,
that doesn't change.
Some of her friends cannot see me, though. They have still never seen me after we've lost Michelle. I look like Michelle, act like Michelle, and they find their grief after 28 years. Imagine after 28 years. There was just to give you a glimpse into her, there was a professor, she took German, I don't know why. She took German, but my sister told me at the service, there was a little man with a beard who was just walking around real fast. We had no idea who he was. And we found out he was her German professor, and he had come to her service. And when he found out that my sister, Brenda, was Michelle's aunt, he said, how am I going to do without her? She was my joy. He saw her once a week for 2 hours in a class. We found out later he said when Michelle walked, she walked and her ponytail bounced, and the seat she always sat at the front with this big smile. He put a reserve sign on there. Nobody sat there for a year. When you lose a child, and when you lose a child who is 20 years old and is already making a difference in this world, and who was full of life, and that you loved beyond love, you cannot ever expect the grief to go away. What you do is you expect to live again, but differently. And that was the process. That's the process I lived through, and the process I'm still going to live through. And I remember saying, so you go through the sadness and the anger and the betrayal, and then you find your reason again for living, and you've got to find another reason for living, or you've got to go back to your reason for living and reanalyze it. But you've got to do that, because if you don't find that, you will stay at that place. Right. There has to always be a purpose. There has to be a reason. And then as you come out and you realize, okay, I still have value. Other people still love me. I'm still functioning. You reach another level. And again, people will say, well, I had one person say to me, but if I appear too happy, people will think I've forgotten her. And that's a truth. That is a truth. I know, as you agree, because I thought that. It doesn't matter what other people think.
No.
So just don't go there. Just
take the moments of joy that come.
Take the moments. Take the moments. If you have a moment of happiness, take that moment of happiness. It doesn't matter because you're going to have some, I don't want to say a bad word, some silly person say to you, oh, you must be getting over it because you smiled. That happened to me. The first time I actually had a bit of a smile. Somebody went, oh, it's so nice to see you smile. You must be getting over it. I just wanted to slap them, to be, and I just turned and walked away, and I let my sister do the slapping,
Well, let me be truthful with you. I know when I know that there's been somebody grieving and I see them smile, I thought that.
Yes.
Because I've never been through this. Yes. I have no idea that it doesn't end.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying don't judge the people that are saying it. They don't know.
They don't know.
But it's okay to feel like slapping them because
absolutely.
You don't have the strength to do anything else. It's really okay. Right. So understand it's a new norm. I never felt like slapping anybody before. I'm thinking, what's wrong with me? But it's a new norm. It's a new normal. Everything's different. So just be accepting of yourself. Be accepting of others. Don't try to fix it. You don't have the strength. Just walk away. Just say, I know you don't understand why I'm going to walk away from you right now, but I'm going to walk away. And walk away. You don't have to make excuses. You have to get strong.
You don't always have to have it together.
No. And as you struggle towards the end, and it could be 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, you begin to forgive the people that said silly things.
It's just a lack of information.
It really is.
It's
There are some people that have absolutely no filters, and
yes,
you don't have to forgive them. It's okay. but for the most part,
most people just don't know.
Most people just don't know, and you don't know, and so you're trying to, you're thinking, oh, okay, well, I need to be strong here, or maybe I should just sit and listen to this. No, if it's hurting you, you're not ready to listen to it.
Right.
Just walk away,
right?
Because you got to get strong.
My husband
said something. I would say it was probably at the end of year 2. He said, honey, when we go to bed at night, he said, and we wake up. That's another day for Carrie. And if we go to bed at night and we don't wake up, that's our day to see Michelle. And he said,
that's a beautiful thought.
He said, that's how we live.
That's a beautiful thought.
And I realized that moment, that's how I was living. You don't live to die, but you live to live, but you realize that when you leave this earth, that she's waiting for me, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a suicidal thing.
No.
It's a very healthy acceptance of the reality of the life we've been given. I told you a few moments ago that I didn't feel I would ever have joy. And that's the other thing I want people to understand. You know how you never feel your heart? Your heart's just there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you're really sad, or your heart feels heavy, it's like a stone. My heart felt like a stone for years. And I mean years. I always felt my heart. It was always heavy. So even though when I was smiling or hugging or coaching, or I always felt my heart. And that was okay. It really was okay. It was just a part of how I lived life. Mm-hmm. And I used to sing, and I could never sing because when I sang, my heart was always full of joy. And it was the reality of the life I was given. It wasn't something to feel sorry about. It was just part of who I was. And I thought to myself, well, that's okay. What is happy anyways? Happy is enjoying your moments in time, knowing that I had my daughter, knowing my daughter was happily married, knowing my marriage and mine and George's marriage survived, because a lot of marriages don't survive because you grieve differently, and knowing that grieving differently was fine. So, so happy is just a state of where you are for the moment you're in, because everybody is unhappy one moment and happy another moment and happy. We don't live in a state of perpetual happiness. That's just non-existent. So my life was fine. It was sad, but fine. And I thought, I'll never feel that, just that joy again, where your heart smiles. And that's okay. Then Ashley was born.
And who's Ashley?
Oh yeah, you don't know. Ashley's my granddaughter. And wouldn't you know, she had a mole. Exactly where Michelle has a mole. And Michelle has eyes that sort of go up like this. I have no idea why. So does Ashley. They're the only two people in our whole entire family tree. I'm not saying Ashley's Michelle. I'm just saying there were little pieces of Michelle. And I looked at Ashley and I felt something in my heart. And I thought, whoa, like it's that piece is that sad is there, but I felt it was like, I can't explain it. It was a flicker.
It might not be a smile, maybe it was a grin.
I don't know. But I felt it. And I thought, and I could feel it in my face. I could feel it in my eyes. I could feel it. And I thought, oh my word. Ashley's bringing me my joy back. Oh, and then Ethan was born, my grandson. Okay, then They are the joy and blessing of my life. My greatest successes were Michelle and Carrie. My greatest gifts are Ashley and Ethan. And I thank God every day. It doesn't mean that anything or anyone can replace the person you've lost.
Right.
That person is not physically there, but they're there. But what it does mean is that after 28 years on this journey, I realized that Michelle and her life were a gift to me and to many. And I will always live with the sorrow and the sadness of not being able to see her until I leave this earth.
To spend time with her.
Yep. But what I realize through this journey is there are still moments of happiness. There are still moments of joy. There is still purpose in life. There are still people that need me. There are still people that need Michelle. Your life doesn't end or begin when you lose someone you love. Your life just continues.
Just different.
It's just different. And I think if people who lose or have lost someone are on that journey right now, I would say to them, don't be so hard on yourself. Find someone that you trust. Don't skip any single process of grief. Find a counselor. Doesn't have to be a psychologist. Find a grief counselor, somebody who's lost a child, because they get it. And they'll tell you that you're okay. All you need is for somebody to tell you that you're okay, because you don't know what okay is. And then just go through the moments, go through it all, and understand at the end of the journey, the weight, the sadness will be there, but so will the joy, so will the laughter, so will a purposeful life. And after 28 years, you still saw the tears. After 28 years, you still see the pain.
Yeah.
But after 28 years, you also see the joy.
Yes.
And
love.
And the love. Yeah. So I guess if there was one word to sum all of this up, it would be hope. People, I think, that give up have lost hope. Never allow anyone to take your hope. Ever. Because as long as you have hope, you have that glimmer that there's just something around the corner, just something that has to be better than what today was. And there are people in our life, sad to say, that want to take our hope. I don't think they mean it. But even if, whether you're grieving or you're not grieving, maybe it's not the grief of a child. Maybe it's grieving the loss of a parent, or grieving the loss of a job, or grieving the loss of a dream. There are people that want to align with you and say, yeah, I know life is really bad. That's not giving you hope. That's taking your hope. You want people that says, I know life is really bad right now. And I know it looks like it can't be better tomorrow. but I'm going to take your hand and I'm going to hold it. And we're going to find that tomorrow. Find that person. That person
will be your lifeline.
That's your lifeline. That's your hope. And
eventually, can you let go? Will you need to let go?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. For me, I think there's always a person out there that's my go-to person when I'm at my saddest.
Mm.
But my hope is, I have my hope now. I don't, my hope will be never lost again. Well, I shouldn't say that because we never know, right?
We never know.
We never know.
But you felt capable of letting go of that person's hand and standing and feeling hope on your own.
Yeah. Well, actually, if you have the right person, that person lets your hand go, pushes you out the window. That's what they know. And I've done that to a few people myself. You say, no, you are on your, I'm here. I'm going to catch you if you fall, but I don't have to hold your hand anymore. You see, those are all the steps, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody holds your hand. And now they got to give you a little nudge.
Well, parents do that.
That's it.
Right? For the parents who can't do that, those are the kids that are still living at home. But we all kind of go,
that's it.
We
I'm holding your hand. There. Now I'm nudging you. Now I'll catch you if you fall.
I'm here if you need me.
Yeah. Now you're not going to fall anymore, so I'm going to go over here and call me.
I'm taking a week's vacation, okay?
That's it. So it's whether it's grieving or it's parenting or it's really all the same process. It's just the level or the depth of despair that might be different.
And that those of us who've not been there can, I'm hearing some of the things that you're saying that people have said to you. And my favorite expression, because for me, this is kind of the only thing that I held on to with some of the stuff in my parenting thing, was people always said, time heals all.
Yeah.
And in my head, to me, that was a salve. That was a balm. And it was like, okay, so what I'm going through right now, I'm going to look back on this in 2 years, 10 years, 20 years and go, okay, I made it through that. And so that was a balm for me. But you're saying that is not, so we don't know. We've not walked in somebody else's shoes. We don't know. And I've learned that years ago.
Yeah.
People would say, oh, you know what? I know how you feel. No, you don't. And I've stopped saying that to anybody. Even if somebody is dealing with a daughter who got raped, and I've been through that, I don't say that because I'm not literally walking a mile in their shoes. I can say, you know what, I've been through that. If you need a helping hand, if you need somebody to talk to, I'm here. But I can't say I know what you're going through because we all go through things so differently.
I think somebody had shared with me that they had been grossly molested as a child, and I never experienced that. And so my answer, and maybe it's because of what I've gone through, is the pain I feel for what you had to endure. At this moment, I can't describe it. I can't make it better for you. I can't take it away from you. All I can ask of you is that if I can help you in any way, you tell me. Because all I can do right now is cry for you.
Yeah.
And I remember her looking at me and saying, that's what I want you to do. That's all I want you to do.
We don't need to fix it.
We don't need to fix it. Nobody needed to fix me.
No. You can only do that anyway.
Yeah.
Nobody else can.
Nobody else can. And everybody is fixed differently.
Yes. Yeah.
But as long as you're fixed and you live a life of purpose and you can somehow get those moments of happiness again, then isn't that what somebody could go through life without a care in the world, have hardly any sadness, have hardly any heartaches. And those same people will just have moments of happiness because they're going to have sad times. They may not have depths of despair. They may not have gone through what you and I have gone through at the level that we've gone through it, but they're still going to have sad times. Their life is just like my life right now, except, sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're sad, sometimes we're happy, sometimes we're sad, except I have a level of despair or sadness. I don't know if it made people say things like, I think what you've gone through has made you stronger. I don't think so. I think it's made me humbler. I don't think it's made me stronger. If there was one word it would give me, it's made me humble. I used to, because I always worked hard and things seemed to come easy to me. You could have my attitude could be, well, I'm pretty good, yeah, and I think what it's done for me is it's given me such a empathy for life and for the struggles that people go through in life. And I'm so humbly grateful that I've been able to struggle through it. I'm so humbly grateful that I've been given the opportunity to care for people that have been brought into my life, that have helped me and I could help them. I don't think it's strength. I don't feel stronger. I feel weaker, to be honest. I feel vulnerable.
Yes.
So I don't feel stronger.
We're not invincible.
No, it's not strength.
Yeah.
It's really a humble, very vulnerable feeling that I feel where I'm landing right now, 28 years later. That's what I feel more than anything else.
I think in all struggles that we do with parents, I think that's kind of, it wasn't until you said it that it registered. It's like, I've had a lot of people say similar things, right? Like, you're so strong to go through this. No, you didn't see me going through that.
Yeah.
I wasn't strong.
Yeah.
You didn't see how many nights I was bawling or trying to cope.
Yeah.
That's not strength. That's just learning to live with it.
That's right.
That's all that is.
That
it's
is.
just learning to live with it. And knowing that you have to get up the next morning because you've got other people counting on you.
That's right.
And
that's exactly right.
And realizing that you don't have it together. You don't have life wasn't good. Life didn't look or turn out the way I really thought it was going to. Parenting wasn't the journey I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And it is, you're right. The word is humbling. It's very humbling. And we make it only because we have that hope.
That's it. It all comes back to hope.
Yeah.
It always comes back to hope.
Very good words.
Yeah.
Very good words.
Yeah.
I think we're going to end on that.
Okay.
For all of you that have watched, if you've gone through any journey as a parent, I can't even imagine the hurt that you've gone through, but we've all gone through something.
We have.
Take the words that Linda's saying today. Find your hope. Find your tribe. Find those people that can help you. And as always, we want to wish you an awesome day.
And love yourself. Love yourself.
And love yourself.
Love yourself through it.
I have never cried like this. Yeah.